Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we are going to be talking about the New Orleans Pelicans and also the Houston Rockets. So the making this video is 11/15/2017. We are actually using the Start Today mode on 2K, which is going to have update stats and records and all that good stuff out there. You guys see the title of this video, you all see the thumbnail out there, so you guys probably have a good idea where this video is leading up to. But I definitely want to talk a little bit both about these teams and then really get into like the meat of the video right here. So first, let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans, guys. This season they are 8-6. They are currently a playoff team, which makes sense because they do have the two best big guys in the game from the power forward and the center position, at least in theory. I mean, people have their disagreements and whatnot, but we are going to go to the player stats on the season. So DeMarcus Cousins having probably his best NBA season so far at 28 points, 14 rebounds, but it's crazy, man, 6 assists and nearly 1 to 2 steals and blocks per game. Anthony Davis doing Anthony Davis type things out there at 26 points and 12 rebounds out there, playing the good defense and everything like that. But also a thing that I noticed too, because DeMarcus is obviously the center of this team, but they are in with Anthony Davis being the power forward. But yeah, they got DeMarcus Cousins actually being the stretch guy on this team, guys. He's shooting 107 threes to just Anthony Davis 34. So Anthony Davis is definitely playing more of the inside game and also perimeter game. But this is the thing here, guys, is that, you know, last season or whatever it was, I don't remember the certain circumstance, but however Jrue Holiday came back to this team, I believe it was a contract extension. He was set to be like the point guard of this team, the guy that would be able to space the floor and provide some shooting, as this team is kind of weak when it comes to the perimeter game. That is proving not to be the case with Jrue Holiday, who is only shooting a weak 22% on the season from three-pointer. Now you got E'Twaun Moore, you got Jameer Nelson, Ian Clark. They're all shooting decently out there, but those definitely are not players that, you know, teams are focused on when it comes to the defensive scheme of this team. They're like, okay, man, let's shut down Jrue Holiday, their point guard on the perimeter, and make the rest of the guards beat us, you know, from the three-point line. And so far, it's kind of working out, but at the same time, Jrue Holiday, I think he's a lot more talented than what that three-point percentage really says. I mean, you look at his career from three, he was always as high, you know, 35, 36, 37% shooter out there. So I think it just comes down to him not being able to handle the pressure of being the main offensive guy from the perimeter when it comes to being a guard. I'm not talking about the big guys or anything, strictly from the guard position, or guys, you know, maybe even a small forward too, positions like that. Okay, so let's go over now and talk about the Houston Rockets. So the Houston Rockets are playing amazing right now. James Harden is definitely picking up from where he left off last season, playing like an MVP at about 31 points, 10 assists out there, getting about 1-2 steals a game. Eric Gordon's playing nice as the shooting guard, as James Harden has been in the point guard position. But as we all know, the big signing was Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul has not really played any minutes at all. I mean, I think that first game is when he actually got injured. At that point, he was shooting like 2 for 9 from the field, which is fine. It's just one game. 10 assists and 8 rebounds per game, which is nice. But the thing that I'm worried about is how is the chemistry of this team going to be affected, you know, once Chris Paul is back and healthy on this team. And he's supposed to be back very soon. By the time you're watching this video, he might actually already be back on the team. So are they going to run the ball through James Harden and make Chris Paul be an off-ball guy? Are they going to do the same thing with James Harden where he has to be the off-ball guy? I mean, I really think they need to decide which one of these players is going to be the bulk and the main ball handler. In my opinion, it should be James Harden. Look at the numbers. So this is where the big time trade comes in, guys. This is where I kind of want to explain myself here. And some of you guys might agree, some of you guys might disagree. That's fine, man. Give me your opinions in the comment section below. We are going to go to proposed trade. And this is the trade that I think that needs to happen, okay? First off, you go on here, you throw in Chris Paul. Now, I know there's probably some sort of restriction where he can't be traded right away. But, you know, whatever it may be. So we got Chris Paul on there. You also need to toss in Clint Capella because, obviously, man, the trade that I'm looking at from the New Orleans Pelicans would have to be DeMarcus Cousins. Yes, guys, let me go over here real quick to the team. On the Pelicans, whoever, what does P start with? Pelican, that's right. DeMarcus Cousins. Now, this is not the final trade, but because I also would be thinking that the Pelicans would need to toss in a future first-round draft pick, maybe even 2 of them, guys, just for the sense that they are going to be getting back a young player in Clint Capella. But the reason this trade makes sense to me is because, for one, Chris Paul instantly becomes the starting point guard for the Pelicans. He goes back to New Orleans and everything like that. Teams up with Anthony Davis. It would allow Jrue Holiday to switch to the shooting guard position and focus more on being a shooter out there, but also not to handle the pressure of running an offense. They also get Clint Capella back, which instantly just becomes a guy around the basket that's going to get rebounds and, you know, throw some dunks down, throw some pick and roll with Chris Paul out there. And what do the Houston Rockets get? They get not only a future first-round draft pick, but they also get DeMarcus Cousins, who is playing like an MVP and is going to be an inside threat Because, you know, Clint Capella is good and everything. He's having a great season, but just that pick and roll, pick and pop combination between James Harden and DeMarcus Cousins I think would be fantastic. So let me go ahead and accept this trade here real quick, and we'll do that real quick. And okay, so since they're over the roster, let me just toss in a fill-in player real quick here, just to make it work out. We'll toss in Frank Jackson. Okay, welcome to the team. Okay, so let's explain this a bit more here, guys, before we do any sort of simulation right here. Actually look at the final lineups right here, because pretty much what happens here is, obviously, you know, James Harden is going to go be the starting shooting guard or point guard of this team. Eric Gordon goes to shooting guard. But it's like nothing ever happened. You know, it's like this team never had Chris Paul. He's only played a few minutes, but instantly they get better because they get a better center, a win-now guy in DeMarcus Cousins on this team. And you go over here to the Pelicans team now, and it's looking like this. I mean, instantly you go ahead. Let's go ahead and put Jrue Holiday at the shooting guard position. I think his rating actually goes up to on 2K, so that's good for the team right there if you're a 2K fan. Okay, so it's looking like this. Chris Paul, Jrue Holiday. You get the inside presence of Clint Capella, who's going to do some great things for this team. But, man, just Chris Paul and Anthony Davis, this will obviously be the best, like, guard that Anthony Davis has ever played with right here. This trade just makes sense for both teams in so many ways. It makes so much sense. Now, I could see where the Rockets would be like, well, we don't want to give up Clint Capella, or, you know, maybe we want to see what Chris Paul can do. But your team's already playing fantastic. So why mess with that chemistry, you know? So pretty much what you get is you get a better center out of this. You get a better center and DeMarcus Cousins. It just makes so much sense, and I wish these teams would make this trade, because both teams have two similar players, and it's just like they could do each other so many favors. So real quick here, I am going to go ahead, guys, and simulate this NBA season, see how both these teams do out here. Okay, so both the Pelicans and the Houston Rockets both made the playoffs right here. As you guys see on the right side there, James Harden actually got the MVP for the Houston Rockets. Also, Chris Paul, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis all made All-NBA teams. So let's go to the player stats on the season for the Pelicans, see how they looked out here. We got Anthony Davis, 28 points, 12 rebounds, out there getting some assists, getting some steals, getting some blocks. Chris Paul at a healthy 17 points and 10 assists. Clint Capella, 14 points and 11 rebounds, so he played fantastic at the center position. Jrue Holiday, his scoring is still not quite where I wanted it to be, but, you know, 13 points per game definitely isn't bad. As far as his three-point shot went, he got up to about 35%, so that's right around his career average, and then the rest of the team did fine out there too. But yeah, man, this nice little duo of Anthony Davis and Chris Paul definitely, I think, worked out for this team, especially just because Chris Paul brought that playmaking, also the defense out there. We go over to the Houston Rockets now. James Harden, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals per game, but also shot a crazy 46% from 3 on about 11 attempts per game. DeMarcus Cousins, 21 points, 11 rebounds, got the assists, got the steals, got the blocks out there. So what I really think this does, though, is DeMarcus Cousins is going to be a huge problem for the Golden State Warriors. So this might actually put them over the top. Eric Gordon, a solid 19 points for himself out there. And then Ryan Anderson, I think he would play very nicely off DeMarcus Cousins, just with his ability, you know, to space the floor out there. So we go over here now, and we are in the NBA playoffs. We got Houston Rockets versus the Spurs in the first round. We also got the Pelicans versus OKC Thunder. Let's simulate the first round here, see what this is looking like. And we got both teams are actually moving on to the next round of the playoffs. So the Pelicans closeout game looking like this: 19-12 for Clint Capella, 18 for Solomon Hill. We have a great game from Chris Paul. Anthony Davis kind of silent, but it's all good, man. It happens. And then we have the Houston Rockets. James Harden, 22 points and 12 assists, with DeMarcus putting up 19 and 9 and 4 blocks on that game. All right, Memphis Grizzlies versus Houston, and we got Golden State versus the Pelicans. Simulate current round. Okay, and so we got the Pelicans being knocked out 4-1 by the Golden State Warriors. I think that makes sense, honestly, guys. I don't think they would be quite there to beat the Warriors. I mean, they would be a better team, I think, but just, you know, they're not beating the Warriors just by any stretch of the imagination. But it definitely gives them something to work at, you know, coming for the next season. Houston Rockets closeout game, a triple-double, and a crazy 29-12 game from DeMarcus Cousins. All right, so here we go. Golden State and Houston Rockets. Simulate current round. And, well, that's how it is, guys. In the end of the day, man, Golden State Warriors, Cleveland Cavaliers. James Harden tried, guys. He dropped 49 points. DeMarcus Cousins, he played very weak. I mean, he only shot 7 times. Eric Gordon, 2 for 13. So, yeah, you're not going to win many games doing that. And just a crazy trio game, you know, from the big-headed monsters, the three-headed monster of the Golden State Warriors. Anyway, guys, give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this trade is bogus, or do you think this is something both teams should look into?